back to another video, and this is the Fallout New Vegas Geck tutorial series part 2. And in this part, I am going to be showing you how to make your own custom interior slash player house. Now, it sounds confusing, it's not that confusing, you'll get it, it's just like the gun. It sounds confusing, but it's not that confusing. So I'm gonna load up my Geck, and I'm going to go over to my cell view, world space interiors, and I'm gonna pick any interior. It can be anyone. I prefer small ones. I'm gonna right click. I'm gonna duplicate cell, and you're gonna see you're gonna get another one below that. It's gonna have the same name, but at the end it's gonna be copy 0000. So we're gonna right click, edit. This thing should show up. You're gonna press interior data, and now you're gonna change the name to whatever. Make sure you're doing this on the copied cell, not the original. I want to name this mod testing lab because this is where I'm going to test all my mods. So I'm going to press OK, and here we have it in the name. It's mod testing lab. The editor ID is the same, so we're going to hit F2, and I'm going to name it mod testing lab. Hit enter, and here it is. Double click on it. Wait for it to load. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. Wrong one. I'm going to look for my one. That's the wrong one. I'm going to look for my cell. And my one was lab testing. So I'm going to look for L. And here it is, mod testing lab. Here we go. Now, you're going to see that there's probably just going to be a grey window. So we're just going to double click on anything in here. And that will bring you to the actual place of the cell, because usually you spawn way out, but this is where that cell actually is. So we want to delete everything, so we're going to scroll out a bit and select everything with the big box and just hit delete. Everything is gone now, everything. Right, so now you have a blank, empty interior cell slate. It's blank. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go to static, here, and you're going to see we have all the static models. Now the difference between a static model and a normal model is static models don't move and you can't interact. So you'll see guns, 10mm pistol, but that's a static one, which means you can't use it, but it will still be in a display. It's handy to use for weapon displays and such. So now what we're going to do is we are going to look up wall. And you're going to see we have a ton of walls. A ton of walls. I'm going to have a few more because I have all DLCs enabled. But I already know which wall I want to get. You should look through all the walls because there is a ton of walls you can get. Like, for example, there is, Enclave RM SM wall. Also, press A. Once you drag in your objects, you're going to see that it's like dark and a shadow. Hit A on your keyboard, and that's full bright mode. And you're going to see here that I have a wall and I have a floor. They will always, or most of the time, be conjoined like this. So they're going to be all one thing. Always one whole thing. Now you can look around, play around with a few different ones, but I already know which one I want to get, and that is the vault wall. And most of them have a prefix. And if you don't know what a prefix is, it's kind of to categorize it. So let's say we're making a mod. Let's say you're making a player home. You might put a prefix on everything before everything. So you might put like player home wall 1, player home entrance terminal. You might put that in there. So that is just a little organization tip. Now I have VRM wall, so vault, RM room, wall 01. And you can see here, vault, room, wall 01. I'm going to drag it in like I did with my gun. And if I hold shift and move my mouse, I can look around and I have a wall, a roof, and a floor. Now, this part is going to be very important. It's very simple, but it's going to be very important. So what you're going to want to do is come up to this row of buttons, and you're going to want to go over to the grid options. You're going to see here, it's going to be unchecked for you. You want to click the buttons, and you're going to notice that when you move stuff around now, it's on a grid. So without the grid, this is what it looks like. But with the grid, it looks like this. And it makes lining up walls so much easier. And I have a tip for the grid. You're going to want to go to File, Preferences, and you're going to want to go to the movement thing, and you're going to want to click Snap to Grid, and you're going to want to put this on 16 or 32. I recommend 16 if you want the fine movements, but if you just want like very snappy, I get 32. I think the actual like proper original grid is 256, and that makes it so much harder. So make sure it's on 16, and that's it. Now everything will be on grid, which makes it so much easier. Now we're going to want to actually make a room. So I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to click on this, and we're going to hit Control D, CTRL and D, hit it, and it has duplicated it. Now it's inside of the other wall, so you won't see it, but if we just move along here, you'll see that we now have 2 walls, which made another wall. Just like that. So now I'm gonna Control D another one, make another wall, and boom, I have 3 walls here. Just like that. Now, I'm gonna wanna make, not a corner, I'm gonna do the corners later. We just want a box without the corners. So now I'm gonna hit Control D to duplicate the wall, and I'm gonna move it over here because the corner is gonna go here. We're gonna move it over here, and you're gonna notice, you can't turn it. So you're gonna want to click on the wall, hold down your right mouse button, and you're gonna want to turn your mouse, and you're gonna see that if you snap it to a grid, it's gonna be, turning around. So we're gonna want to line it up with the edge here. And we're just going to want to do the same thing. Control D, move. Control D, move. And leave something for the corner. Now, you can do it again on this side and this side. You can do it again. Or you can select all the walls with holding the left mouse button and dragging to make a box. Control D, hold the right click button, turn your mouse, line it up just right. If we line it up, you will now see we have a very simple room. Now you're going to notice there's no floors or corners, but that doesn't matter. So just do whatever right now. Make your walls. And once you have that done, continue watching the video. And now we're going to want to put in the corners. So, I am going to go over to the corner, look for a corner. Now, it's not, most of the time it's going to be shortened to core, C-O-R. And just look. So, I can see here, vault room wall, end corner in 1. So, I'm going to click it, drag it. And I can hold Z and move it up or down. That will move it on an axis. So if we hold the object, hold Z, and move it up and down, you'll see it goes up and down. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to line it up with the floor. We're going to want to turn the object and we're going to line it up. Now, I want my corner to be blue here and I want it to be white here. So I want to reverse the colours. Now, if you want to do that, we're going to have to use a different corner because this corner is wrong. So we're going to look for the opposite one, which is the same thing but R1. Drag it in, line it up, turn it around, and boom. We now have a simple corner. So now I'm going to take this one, the one that I had before. I'm going to move it, rotate it with the right mouse button, and line it right up there. Now we're going to take this, Control D, move it, rotate it, and actually move it to this side. Make sure it's all lined up. Perfect. And now we're going to take this one here, Control D to duplicate, right mouse button to rotate it, move it, and line it up. And there we go. We now have a fully outlined building. It is fully outlined. No need to worry. Boom. Now we're going to have to put on the floors, which is very easy. We're going to do the exact same thing we did the walls, except we're going to look for the part that's called mid. So it's usually going to have the prefix, and it's going to have mid. So I'll show you what that looks like. For me, my prefix is VRM. But see, I have wall. So the mid isn't going to show up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up VRM, which is my prefix for my walls. And I'm going to look up mid. And here we go. We have two mids. This one's for the rusty one. This one's a clean one. So we're going to drag this one in. Move it. Line it up. And there we go. Now, if you don't know what I just did at all, that's okay. Now, we need to finish off the floor, so we're going to click this, Control D, and move, Control D, and move. And you're going to see we have 3 ones here. Now, we could go copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, but that'll take too long. So I'm going to click on one, Control click on another, Control click on another, duplicate, and line up. Boom. We now have our very own room. Now you're going to notice that we have gaps. This just happens when you're lining up walls. I don't know if I don't think I'm doing something wrong, but for me anyways, my walls are always not lined up well at all. And usually what will happen is we're going to plug up the holes. I'm going to look up for those. I'm going to look up the vault kind of pillar things. You'll know what I mean once you see it. So I think it's not called vault pillar. It's just called vault. I think. So here's an example of the pillar that I mean when they're usually blocking up stuff. So you can see I'm using the same walls, and you're going to see that it's not lining up normally. So what the game devs do is they take this type of pillar and they just move it in here, and it basically blocks the whole thing, and you just don't have to worry about it. So where was it? Okay, so it's back here. Oh, sugar. And it's just there because I don't know what it is, but it's just designed a bit odd. and it just doesn't seem to always line up perfectly. So for my house, I'm going to use this pillar. Now, your one won't be the same, of course, but try to find something to block them up with. I'm going to use pillars. So I don't know the name of this, but I know what it looks like. So I'm going to go to a place where I know where one is, and I'm going to double click it, and I'm going to go to the base object here, and I'm going to say VRM free call 01. So now I know what it's called. So I'm going to go back to my own cell, which is called mod lab testing, and I'm going to double click on one, and I'm going to look here, VRM wall column or free column, VRM free call 01, click, drag, and boom. I'm going to now click on my one, right click, rotate, drag in here, line it up, and boom. Problem solved, no more gaps. Now, there's a bit of a problem here. We're just going to patch it up. Sometimes you have problems just because. So always just make sure to check over what you built. I'm now going to click this, duplicate, drag it across, plug up the hole. I'm gonna duplicate, drag it across if I can, plug up the hole. We're gonna duplicate it, move the pillar, and boom. We now have a room. Perfect, the room is sorted. But there's no way to get in or out, which is a bit of a problem. So we're going to make an entrance doorway. So I'm going to pick a place for my entrance doorway, and I think right here will suit. So I'm going to click on the middle thing, on the one I want to delete. I'm going to go over to my keyboard and hit the delete button. Now, if you have a smaller keyboard, you probably won't have a delete button. So what you can do is you can click on your item, go over to your cell view, go to mod testing lab objects or whatever your cell is called, and we're going to scroll until we see the blue one. Blue means it's highlighted, or if it's grey, that means it's highlighted. We're going to right click, delete, yes, boom, it's gone. So if you don't have the delete button on your keyboard, do that. But I have the delete button on my keyboard, so I can just hit delete. Right, now I'm going to look for an entrance doorway. So I'm going to look up my prefix, which is VRM. And I'm going to get vault, room, wall, and exit small 1. Drag it in. Right click to rotate. Hold the Z key, drag it down, and line it up, and there we go. Right there we have an entrance doorway. Now we're going to want a door, so I'm going to look up vault door, or just vault. I'm going to look up vault in the all section. I'm going to look up vault door. So I was in static one, and doors, make sure to not get the static model of the door. Usually doors will have the double door kind of icon, so I'm going to click and drag in my door icon, and this one looks nice, yeah, I like that one. So I'm just going to go in here, drag it in, see if it fits, because it might not fit. Let's see. No, it doesn't fit. Well, if it doesn't fit, we're just going to have to find a new one. So I'm going to delete it. And now I'm going to look for another door. I'm going to look for vault. And I'm just going to see if there's any doors with the vault thing. So So I'm just gonna look and look and look. No, 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 nothing. Oh! Nothing, nothing, nothing. Vault entry door 01. We're gonna see if that one works. Nope. So we're gonna delete that. We're gonna see if there's any other vault doors. And oh look, I found some. I found V door sliding vault 03. I'm gonna drag it in. I'm gonna right click to rotate. And it's a perfect fit. That fits perfectly. Let's go. That fits perfectly. We found one that fits. So we now have a door, floors, walls. But if you remember, we put on full bright mode because it was so dark. Let's try taking off full bright and see what happens. Let's press the A key and look at that. It's dark. What do we do when it's dark? We put on a light. So I'm just going to look up light. Pick I'm going to pick out Shack light fill cool. Shack light fill cool. And you're going to notice that it's doing nothing. So we're going to double click on it, edit base, and we're going to change the ID. We just want to change the ID straight away so that we don't mess up anything else, because then other lights will be super bright. So what am I going to do? I'm going to change the name to my own prefix. My prefix is going to be called VL for Vault Lab. VL Light 01. Radius 2000 just to test it. Hit OK. Yes to create a new form. OK. And here we go. Now, there is a bug where the light doesn't work sometimes in the Geck. You usually have to relaunch the Geck or go in game to see it work. So we're just gonna leave it right here, assume it works, and we're just gonna look for any flaws. And boom, we found 2 flaws in our base. What do we do when we find flaws? We see how to patch them. So, is this lined up properly? Yes. Or is it? And you're also going to see, this is bright now because we have a light, but it's just not registering. So everything else you can see is dark, but it's all bright here. So yeah, the light does work. But my point is that it's a bit weird. So we're going to take the pillars, move it to hide it, Control D, move to hide, and look at that. Problem gone. Now we have one last step. I'm going to turn full bright back on. You're going to notice that, oh, it's done. Cool. I'm just going to hop in and play test it. But if you would have noticed, we don't have really any inside or outside door to get in. So how are we going to get in? Well, that's easy. What we're going to do is we're going to go in here. We're going to click Wasteland Envy, but we're not going to go anywhere first. We're going to double click on our door, and you're going to see this pop up. We're going to want to go to the Teleport tab, check Teleport, and you're going to see we have this. Just leave it open for now. Don't do anything. Just leave it open. I'm now going to go into Good Springs, double click it, and I'm going to place a door here. Your Geck might be a bit slow, but it will load in eventually. I'm going to scroll in, and I'm just going to take a random door. So I'm going to take Chet's door, Control D to copy it and duplicate it. I have my door here. I'm just going to throw it down here, hit F to floor it, and I'm going to hit select reference in render window on my sliding door inside my base. Select reference in render window, double click the door, and hit OK, and you're going to see a yellow marker pops up. This yellow marker is where you're going to pop out. So when you go outside of the vault into the outside, you're going to be placed right here. You're going to be placed in the door. We don't want that, so we're going to move the marker in front of the door facing out. So now whenever you go outside, you're going to be facing this way and you're not going to be inside the door. Now we're going to double click the yellow marker, view door, view reference for this door marker in cell mod testing lab. We're going to hit yes. We're going to see we have one here. We're going to drag this one out. And boom. We now have a fully functional house. It is fully working. We can hop in, play test it straight away. And yeah. So I'm going to hit save. I have this linked to another mod, but I'm going to assume that this is your first mod. You're going to hit save, and you're going to get a name, and you want to save it as whatever you want. And you hit save, and then you're going to be able to play test it. This tutorial is a bit more advanced. There is really no way to step it up a bit. I just want to make it, you know, a bit... I want to make the curve a bit higher at the start, because this one isn't as fun as making your own gun. But, you know, soon we're going to make our own NPC. We're going to make, you know, terminals. We're going to make shops. We're going to make vendors. We're going to make all that cool stuff. So, yeah, just bear with the series. And, yeah, we're going to be... You are going to be really good at this modding Geck thing. So, yeah, I'm going to hop in game, play test it, and see what it's like. Okay, so here we are in game, ready to test out our custom player house / interior. We're going to go up to the door. We're going to open door to mod testing lab. And you're going to see we appear inside of our mod testing lab. And look right here. We have a light, we have walls, we have floors, we have roofs. It's all done and it's all sorted. And that's how you make your own interior. You can expand this to wherever. There are tons of walls. There are tons of things. Now, in the next episode, I'm going to be showing you how to make an exterior for the house. That is a lot more simple. And it'll probably be like a 4-minute tutorial, 5-minute tutorial. It'll be a lot simpler. So, yeah, I mean, I hope you enjoyed watching this episode. I hope you come back for the next one. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.